So this is actually going to be a very, very brief lecture. And I say that and I might end up talking for 3 hours, but the law number 30, can you believe it? We've finished the 2s, finished the 1s, now we're on the 3s out of 48. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. This is one of the laws of power. You know, the first person who I thought of was Roger Federer. The past couple months, not recently, not in the past like the last 2 weeks, but before that, I was watching a ton of tennis for whatever reason. It just came on my algorithm on Instagram, and then you find them on YouTube Shorts, and then my YouTube, for you, related. And I would be watching the Wimbledon of Roger Federer versus Djokovic, who I'm a super fan of, the Serbian. And the way that Roger would play is just with such grace. It looked effortless. He enacted out this law. He had a godlike aura of make your accomplishments seem effortless. The guy's backhand is with one hand, and you don't have an ace when you do, a return. An ace is only when you serve, but he would literally, ace the person with a one-handed backhand shot cross court. And you're just like, what? And then he never makes a sound. Not when he serves, not when he returns. And his opponent's serve is over 200 kilometers per hour. In American, it's over 100 miles an hour. But I just thought that was insane. It gave me so much more wow factor. I had such a greater awe and admiration and respect and wow when I saw him perform at the most elite level, making it look like it was practiced, like it was easy, like it was nonchalant, which is what they talk about in this law. Like it's just a Tuesday. This is a warm-up. That's how effortless and easy he made it look, competing at the highest of levels. So everybody watching in, and he actually said this in an interview, he said, that always bothers me when people say it's easy for you, because he makes it look so easy. What people don't understand is to make it look that effortless took thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of work. And I thought he was the perfect epitome of this law enacted out in real time to create that godlike aura of just mere power, as if you're a demigod, right? Watching, you're just like, wow, this is superhuman because of how effortless and easy he makes it look. So that's the law. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Anyway, so all right, let's get into the notes. Your actions must seem natural and executed with ease. So Roger Federer was the first one. And then the second person who I thought of was Steph Curry. If you've ever seen him, he's the #1 3-point shooter, point guard in NBA history. And if you watch him make three-pointers, make beyond that, make half-court shots, make behind half-court shots over and over. I was watching those compilations where he shoots, it's a three-pointer, he turns around before he even goes in on the basket, and he looks at the enemy. He looks at his opponent dead in their eyes, and it's just like that level of confidence, of dominance, of prowess. It's second to none. And then you can't help but admire and respect and just be like, and get intimidated by. Imagine you're the opponent and they're making you literally feel like a toddler. There's a really good interview with Kobe Bryant, and he says, my goal whenever I would go against someone was I wanted to beat them so badly that they reconsidered their profession of choice. Like that's the kind of damage he wanted to do, where he made you second guess, your certainty that this was the sport for you. Like to dominate you that badly, to make you doubt and fear and hesitate that maybe I don't belong here. Like that's the level of dominance that we're looking for, of power, right? To enact out this law. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Okay. Quote, keep your effort and your tricks to yourself, and you seem to have the grace and ease of a god. I don't need to go into that. We just gave 2 examples. Steph Curry, you can put Kobe Bryant in that category, and I put Roger Federer. I thought they were the perfect prime examples, but you can make anybody. You can put anyone who's at the elite of their game. They just make it look so graceful. If you watch Michael Phelps swim during any of his Olympics, like yes, they're exerting their maximum effort, but the way that they sustain, the way that they, in the longevity, and they're still, I was going to use a bad word, beating people. I was going to use a word that is often used in gaming. It rhymes with grape, when you're graping them. When you beat people very badly, to the point where they feel humiliated, embarrassed, they alt F4, IRL. Yes. Moving on. This is a quote. It's a long one. Buckle in, strap in, buddy. We all admire the achievement of some unusual feat, but if it is accomplished naturally and gracefully, our admiration increases tenfold, 100%, right? We can corroborate that with those examples that I listed. When they make it look so easy, our awe and admiration is increased tenfold. No dispute there, okay? However, this is the counter. This is the alternative. To labor at what one is doing and to make bones over it, so you work really hard and then you feel the need to advertise, hey, I'm working so hard, look at me, shows an extreme lack of grace and causes everything, whatever it's worth, I love this, to be discounted. As in, when you go on Instagram and you see some guy either complain about how hard his life is or just scream how much work and output that he's doing, you lose all respect. You lose all considerations. I'll give you a perfect example. I saw this guy on my Instagram feed, and he was the one who created the trend, let him cook. And he was bitching about how the Hawk Tua girl got really famous, became a millionaire, and that nobody gave a shit about his meme or that he didn't blow up. The top comment on that video was, bro, I'm not even following, but I'm unfollowing. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's exactly how I felt. I was just like, there's a level of complete lack of grace, right? Lack of class, that's the right word. A complete lack of class when you feel the need to bitch about how you didn't, get a leg up in life, or that, you didn't get handed something, or that somebody else got luck where you didn't, or you feel disadvantaged, or that somebody owes you something, or that, oh, you work so hard, look at me. Nobody gives a fuck about those people. Nobody respects them. You're not going to elicit an aura of admiration and respect from your peers if that's how you go about your life operating. The premise of this law is humility, because when you ever ask them, they understand they're the elite of their game. They understand that they are the master class. If you watch, there's an interview with Mike Tyson, and he's sitting across from Muhammad Ali, and Tyson has such a good quote. He said, the interviewer, it might have been Oprah or someone, they asked Tyson, and he was young, he had to have been in his 20s, like 21, 22, 23. She said, who's the better fighter, between you guys, like who's the greatest of all time? And he said, it's like poetry what Mike Tyson said. He said, I know I'm great, but every tail must wag, every tongue must confess, every head must bow that Muhammad Ali is the greatest of all time. And that's class. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a guy who knows he's a killer and knows could be considered in that category of the greatest fighters, one of the greatest fighters of all time, and yet he submits that level of humility to the other person. What does that give Mike Tyson? You have such a greater admiration and mutual respect for someone who appreciates greatness. Do you know what I'm saying? Who pays credit where it's due. That's who you want to be as a man. You want to be the guy who pays credit where it's due, who doesn't live in a state of lack, who, if somebody is a titan, is a champion, you compliment them, you hype them, you take all of the credit off yourself and you defer. It's unmistakable that you're great. But the thing is, when you're at the top of your class, you let your actions speak for yourself. You don't have to fucking say a word. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a good quote from Greg Plitt. If you do the work in here, when you go outside, you don't have to talk, do you? And that's the whole premise of it. It cheapens the accomplishment. And I learned this when I felt the need to advertise all of my accomplishments on Instagram. Like, look at me, look what I was able to achieve, look what I'm doing. It's like, no, you take the wind out of the sails, right? You cheapen the accomplishment by feeling the need to say, because all you're doing is communicating a very insecure person saying, look at me, I'm doing this for validation. Please, validate that I matter, that I'm important, that I'm successful, right? Nobody respects the guy who does that. But if you let your actions speak for you, if you just put in the work behind closed doors when no one's watching, when you're in the public eye, dude, they'll see it in your glow. They'll see it in your hunger. They'll see it in your physique. They'll see it in how you show up. Right? They'll know something's different about this guy. He seems more passionate. He seems more on. I don't know if it's his finances, or maybe he got into a relationship, or there's something about him, and that is so magnetically attractive to other people. But if you were to say, look at me, look at how much money I have, look at my trophy wife, look at all this bullshit, no, we don't care for that person at all, right? We don't harbor any respect for that guy. We don't want to be around that guy. It's just, you can see in my facial expression, that's how we feel about the person who feels the need to boast. It's reflective of arrogance and a complete omission of humility versus the guy who we all know he's world class, but what makes him a world class act is his humility. Okay, so I love that the lack of grace causes everything, whatever it's worth, to be discounted. Beautiful. It's very well said. And by their own fault. Okay. And I just explained this. You cheapen the accomplishment / awe with your words / the feeling the need to communicate, look at me. Completely true. You cheapen the accomplishment. Just let your actions speak for themselves. Just put in the work, head down, right? And get the fucking work done. And then let your actions speak for themselves. You won't need to say anything, and I promise people will talk about you. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you're not even in right now. Food for thought. When it comes to saying less than necessary, which is actually a law of power that ties into this, make your accomplishments seem effortless. You don't need to speak. You don't need to overshare. You don't need to tell everybody what you're doing. I put brevity as power because it echoes humility. Brevity, not saying too much, keeping an air of mystery. We talked about this in a previous law. The less that you say, the less that you reveal, the more space you invite for others to fill that with their imagination, right? But if you overshare, if you overcommunicate, if you say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm going to do, you give nobody any mystery. You invite no opportunity for fantasy. You don't give yourself the opportunity to become godlike, right? And that is the way that's harnessed, is through the power of other people's imagination, because you give room for them to talk about you, to discuss. You're controversial. Oh my gosh, he did this, and you don't feel the need to explain yourself. There's a good quote by Jim Rohn that go about your life so you never complain and you never explain. You never have to explain. And if you extrapolate that, what does that mean? Never complain, as in never feel sorry for yourself, never bitch and moan. Someone out there is dreaming to live out your worst day. And never explain. What does that mean? It means you don't go through your life making excuses for yourself or feeling the need to justify and rationalize to other people why you're not a success, because nobody gives a fuck. Because at the end of the day, the only reason is because of you. So you never have to go through your life making excuses for yourself as to why you didn't make it. When in reality, you quit, you gave up, you stopped trying, you threw in the towel, right? And I've coached and mentored and befriended many a people. And any person who puts other people as to why they weren't successful, that is the victim narrative. Oh no, I can't go to the gym because my kids. Fuck you. Oh no, I can't do this because I'm a parent. Bullshit. Oh no, I'm a grandparent. Oh no, I have cancer. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Excuse, cop-out, scapegoat. Victim motherfucker. We don't tolerate any of that shit. We don't have sympathy for those people. The people who choose to feel sorry for themselves and blame other people or circumstances, conditions, and events as to why they didn't achieve success. What do we say to those people because we love them? Go fuck yourself. Spin your sympathy story to somebody else. Quit bitching and moaning and go talk to somebody who has actual fucking problems. Because you're going to find in your life people who have the exact same adversity as you, the exact same hardships, if not worse, achieve what you wanted to, if not far greater, simply because they chose not to be the victim of their story, of their life. And they chose to be the hero, right? To not feel sorry for themselves, to focus on what they can control, to give it a beautiful meaning. This happened for me, not to me. And then they said, so now what the fuck am I going to do about it? That could be you. You could be a hero, not a victim bitch. Okay. Brevity. I thought of Picasso when I thought of brevity. There's a beautiful story where a woman seeks him out to do a portrait of her. And he finishes it in 5 minutes. And he says, okay. She's like, how much will that be? He's like, that'll be 5,000 francs, which was the currency in France at the time. And she said, 5,000 francs? That took you 5 minutes. That's absurd. And Picasso said, my lady, you're mistaken. That took me a lifetime. And I love that so much. It's the same thing. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. No, you didn't see the thousands of hours at work thousands of hours of work that it took for me to create this art with such grace, with such speed. No, you didn't see all of that. You're not paying me for my time here. You're paying me for the years that it took to do this in this quick of a time. Got it? Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Effortless, effortless, effortless. Give yourself that godlike aura, right? Very powerful. Okay. Picasso. Think Roger Federer. Think Steph Curry. Think Picasso when you want to think of the man that you want to become. When you want to operate, or I think of Greg Plitt, somebody who his action spoke for himself. Don't get me wrong, he spoke a lot. You can YouTube, Google, there's hundreds of motivational videos and audios for the groundwork that he led to be the hero of your life, the hero of your story. But his actions spoke for him. His physique screamed credibility. It screamed discipline, work ethic, heart, passion, perseverance. And you'll find that in life, people judge appearances, not words. So if you're a fat fuck and you are unhappy with your sales, or that you're not in a relationship or whatever, or that no one's hiring you, extrapolate it. Why would I want to hire someone who's shouting without saying anything and advertising to the world, I'm lazy, I'm a sloth, I implore neglect, I lack discipline, motivation, self-respect, all of the above, right? Your actions will speak, your appearance will speak without you needing to say anything. People will make judgments immediately, and as they should, because we make initial judgments. I know they say don't judge a book by its cover, but we do it for safety purposes, because that's how we detect a threat from far away, right? Let me do, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, they call it an ocular pat down. Let me do an assessment of this person to glean whether or not they're a potential threat or not. But in the modern day civilized world, we zero in whether they're going to be of use, of value to us, right? And we do that equation in our head. Are you a net positive, or are you going to be a liability to me, right? Are you going to be a detriment to my life? Are you going to be a poisonous, venomous pesticide in my garden, or are you going to add to it? Are you going to water it? Are you going to increase my value and love and sense of well-being and peace? Are you going to invite just noise and just aggravation and just headache, right? We don't want that. We don't want headache, right? We want peace. We want a beautiful garden, right? Okay. So think of those things. Food for thought. That's all it is. It's all food for thought. Next. Keep others at a distance, and they will only see the ease at which you move. Keep others at a distance. Don't overshare, right? And they will only see the ease at which you move. Just like when I watch Roger Federer, I don't see the thousands of hours he puts into his training, or what Kobe Bryant in one of his award speeches, he talks about when he won an Oscar. You do 2-a-days, 3-a-days, 4-a-days. He did up to 5-a-day training sessions, right? We don't get to see that. We see the clutch game-winning shot where he looks ice cold. That's what gives him a godlike aura. To where I go to my barber in Santa Ana and there's a freaking 2-story tall mural of Kobe Bryant there. How, right? Why? Because of what he did. Because of making his accomplishments seem effortless. Because not feeling the need to vocalize and advertise, hey, look at me, look how hard I'm working. His godlike aura came from a plethora of testimonials. If you watch any interview of Kobe Bryant, every teammate, every enemy teammate, opponent, they would all talk about his work ethic. He didn't have to fucking say anything. There's actually a story. It's an interview. There's, I forget what this guy played for. He may have played for the Clippers. And he's doing an interview with Tom Bilyeu, the founder of Quest Nutrition. And the podcast was called Impact Theory. And he went, and they were competing in Los Angeles against the Lakers when it was the championship Lakers. They had Kobe and Shaq on their team. So this was like the real deal. So he said, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to make, I think it was like 300 made shots. So he's going to go before the game to make 300 shots. He's like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to win. He gets to the gym, the gymnasium, and Kobe's already there. And he's already training. And he's already in a dead sweat when he got there. And he says this. He says, so then he starts working out, and then he got done. He made all his made shots, and then Kobe's still going. And then he was like, well, I want to see how long this goes for. And then he waits, in about 25 minutes, Kobe gets done, right? And he said when Kobe was playing, when he got there, he was in a dead sweat, and he wasn't doing nonchalant moves. Like, he was doing game-winning moves for his practice before the game, before this opponent teammate even stepped into the gym, and he did that until this guy finished, and then continued for another 25 minutes. Okay. After the game, and he says in the interview, Kobe Bryant dropped 40 points on him and his team. He's like, I have to go up to him. I have to know. So he said, hey, Kobe, I have to know, why are you training so hard? And he said, because I saw you come in, and I wanted you to know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, you will never outwork me. And he didn't have to fucking say anything prior to the game. He let his actions speak for him. That's how he created this godlike aura, remembered forever by millions of people. Why? He made his accomplishments seem effortless. He made everyone around him in a sense of awe and admiration about his work ethic that he didn't have to say a fucking word towards, on behalf of. Okay. Don't overshare what you're doing / are doing, just do it. I know that sounds cliche, that's the Nike, mantra, but it's so true. And I had to make this transition because I would always advertise, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, whether it was like Escape 2023, Escape 2024. The only thing I've posted is I've alluded to something that's going to happen at the end of May 31st. But I'm not oversharing anymore. You're seeing it right now with my daily content. You're seeing it if you're on my Instagram with daily training. Like, don't overshare what you're doing, just do it. Let your actions speak for themselves, right? And just be that beacon of light, inspiration, motivation for other people. Like they talk about in the 10X rule, add so much wood to your fire, make your fire so big, so emblazoned that people will gather around in an admiration, right? Just because of how much, if you extrapolate this, the wood is your action, and then a massive fire is massive action. And he says, work so hard that people have to stop and talk about you. And he said, if you're not getting criticism, you're not working hard enough. If you're not getting hatred, your degree of action is not great enough. And it's so true that unless people are coming to you, trying to manipulate you, trying to talk shit on you, you're not working hard enough, because you would have broken through obscurity. So if nobody fucking knows about you, then you're not doing enough to be known, if that makes sense. So don't share what you're going to do. Don't advertise it. Don't tell people. And it's a two-prong. It serves two purposes. Number one is to give you that sort of aura, that sense of mystery. You give that space for others to fill their imagination, their fantasy. It gives you a larger-than-life kind of ambiance. But the second thing is, and I have learned this mistake the hard way, to not overshare, is because you have to be careful about who you share your dreams with, your ambitions with. Because other motherfuckers who are insecure, who don't want to see you win, who are little serpents in the grass within your garden, they'll literally plant seeds of doubt, fear, hesitation, their projection, their bullshit onto you. And so I've had to learn that the hard way, that there's a very, very select few people, that like less than I can count with one hand, who are privy to anything that I'm doing, anywhere that I'm going. Why? Because I've made the mistake of telling other people in the past that should have no fucking business on what I'm doing, because they've invited nothing but negativity, discouragement, making me feel uncomfortable in my own skin, unconfident with what I'm doing, where I'm going. My mom is a perfect example of someone I always share everything with, because it's always met with support. It's unconditional support. Hey, I want to do this. Yes, absolutely, you're going to do a great job. I believe in you. Go for it. If it's not on that level, it does not participate with me in my life, period. And I've made that such a precedent, and it comes from raising your standard. So if you find yourself around tolerating people in your life who put you down or make you feel small or less than, you have to cut those motherfuckers off, because only when you prune that, if you think of your life as a garden, will you invite the opportunity to be watered by people who actually want to see you win. But you'll constantly be hindered, and you'll find yourself shrinking down and conforming to the projection and bullshit of other motherfuckers who are just insecure about their own lack of accomplishment, of achievement, because of fear, because they were too much of a pussy to pursue, to try, that now they feel the need to be that spectator criticizing you who's actually in the arena. Fuck those people. But it's so important that it's not their fault if you find them able to shit talk you on a consistent basis or to discourage you. It means they have access to you. And whose fault is that? It's not theirs, it's yours. Because if they leave a comment or something on Instagram, you can block them. You can mute your stories from them. You can not reply to their fucking text. Oh no, it's family. Oh no, it's someone I live with. There's no excuse, right? Arm's distance, need to know basis. Even if it's family. I have family that I love, but they're completely negative. They're fucking terrible people to be around, to talk to hang out with, because it's all negativity. It's all projection. It's all them who have not healed, who have not... I saw a great post. It's by Sigmund Freud. And he said, emotions that are not expressed, that are just buried, they will resurface in other very unpleasant, bad, I'm going to butcher it, bad ways. And I have family members that are evidence to that. As in, because of childhood trauma and abuse, that was never addressed, that was never expressed, that was never released. You find it come out in other toxic, negative, bullshit ways. And it's nothing but a reflection of pure emotional projection. So what do? Yes, I love you, but you can fuck off from a distance. And it has to be that way. That's called having a standard. That's called respecting yourself. I used to think when I would tolerate negativity, but no, they're family, but no, they're loved ones, they're friends. No. It is wisdom to cut these motherfuckers out of your life. Even if they're family, even if they're blood. Fuck no, that doesn't give you an excuse to project onto me, to bleed on someone who didn't cut you ever. You're a fucking adult. Take care of your shit, right? So you have to get that clear. So a lot of people are too much of afraid. They're too afraid to set that precedent because, oh, it's family. Oh, I give a fuck what they think about me, or it's my friends, or this. You have to make that crystal clear. If you don't have a line, then you'll find yourself being walked over, being disrespected, being the like. Right? And whose fault is it? It is not theirs. It is yours, because you're fucking tolerating it. Okay. So, in summary, don't share. Don't share. And then cut the fucking negativity out of your life. All of it. And every person who's a snake, a wolf in sheep's clothing, harness and sharpen your discernment and be able to spot those motherfuckers from a mile away and make it clear they do not have access to you anymore. Period. That way, you set that standard of who the fuck you are. And there's a good quote, it's what you're enacting in real time. Once you remember your value, you'll be embarrassed of the shit you once settled for. So the same people that took access with you for granted, it's a mistake that they won't even be able to make again. Okay. Don't share what you're doing, what you're going to do, are doing. Just do it. I've made that very clear. Partial disclosure. And I said your content, for example. He said this is the ultimate cleverness. So partial disclosure. It's all an illusion. And you can even harness this if you're, giving people the illusion that they're in the know, but all you're doing is posting troll content. So Instagram is a perfect example of this, that if all you do is post troll shit, people think that you're not smart or you don't take life seriously, when in reality you're doing all of this very strategically, very for marketing. Very recently, the biggest trend on social media has been to get attention in the form of memes. So it's very stupid, it's this, but when you look at the engagement, when you look at the likes, when you look at the shares, oh, there's some business strategy to this. So it's an idea of partial disclosure. So we talk about don't overshare, don't share what you're doing, but when you're creating something, when you're allowing yourself to be seen as you have to share. You have to produce content. Otherwise, you'll never find the people who love you for you. You'll never be able to reach your audience unless you have the courage to be seen. So you have to have some disclosure at some point, right? But he said it's the ultimate cleverness, and here's why. Here's why. It gives the audience the illusion of being superior and involved. And I put, and in the know of what you're doing, and I said, or so they think. And he said, even while much of what you do remains concealed from them. So it's very, very true. When I post things on social media and you think, oh, you know everything that's going on in my life. No, you get to see what I allow you to see. And it's very important when you think about what you're seeing on social media that is not a reflection of people's actual life or actual state of being. A lot of people, you see this a lot with girls more than guys, where they'll post like a selfie and they'll be smiling and you think, oh man, they're so beautiful, or they must be doing so great. No, they're fucking depressed. They're unhappy more often than not. And so they post something like that to get a ton of likes, to get a ton of messages, and it's that confidence boost that they need when they're actually like not in a good place. So understand that. What you're seeing on social media, dude, it's an illusion. It's a mirage. It's complete and utter bullshit. And it's the importance of checking in on your strong friends. I saw a post the other day that said the reason you don't feel the need to check in on your friends, strong friends, is because they don't need to be checked on. And I read that, or heard the guy speak it, and I said that's bullshit. They wish they got checked in on, but the reality of it is they have to be that beacon of light and hope for so many other people that they don't allow themselves to bitch and moan publicly. They don't allow themselves to have their fucking pity party, because number one, nobody gives a fuck, but number two, they understand that they're acting in the role of the protector and provider. They know that even if other people don't tell him, he's that beacon of hope and light for other people. So he sucks it the fuck up, and that's pretty much the epitome of being a man. But that doesn't mean that they don't like or appreciate being checked on. I saw an interview a long time ago. It was of The Rock, and any person who's achieved a ton of success, all the people who talk to them are just looking to get something from them. And so the interview asked him, like, what's your favorite thing? It's when somebody goes and talks to him and literally just asks him how he's doing. He's not trying to get anything from him, not trying to get, a network opportunity, not trying to get money or publicity or fucking anything. He doesn't want anything. He's just like, hey, are you okay? And then he literally said, he's like, oh, I fucking love you so much. That's a very strong person, and we all need that, man. We all need to be checked in on. So good reminder, little end of lecture disclosure. Check in on your strong friends, right? Even the ones who you think, oh, they have it all together. You never know, man. They could be that Robin Williams. So that's law number 30. And I'm not alluding that I'm the Robin Williams in this scenario. However, during my hero's journey, I've shared this publicly, that it brought me to the point where I did not want to live anymore. But I saw this in a video of the actor Jim Caviezel, who played Christ in The Passion. And he said, he didn't say when you're on your path, but essentially when you're on your hero's journey, when you're fulfilling your purpose, what God has called you to do, God will take you to the edge. He will take you to the edge. And it's very important when you think of success and you think of blessings and you think of making it, achieving breakthrough, achieving the until in the success cycle. The only thing that separates people is the ones who are brought to the edge, but they choose to keep going. Like, there's so many videos, and there's a public speech with Donald Trump. He says this exact same thing. I know so many people who were right there and then gave up. But if they just would have held out a tiny bit longer, they would have been successful. He said, I know countless people that have that story. And it's because this is where everyone else quits. Think of success as a single highway. But between the start, right, your journey, your hero's journey, and the finish line where you make it, there's countless exits. Countless exits. You could quit at any fucking time. And 99% of people do. They give up right before breakthrough, right before they're about to make it, before they're about to reach until. Belief, potential, action, results. Belief, potential, action, results over time until. You just hold on a little longer. So the whole premise of Route Life, what? It starts with belief. Anyone can escape. It starts with belief and the courage to pursue. The courage to see the journey to the fucking end, right? Excuse me. If you think of your life as a hero movie, every movie the guy gets wrecked. Batman, his parents get murdered. Superman, parent dies. Any hero, they get fucking decimated. They get wrecked. That is what starts the heroes. That's what makes them a hero. That's what starts the journey. And when they're at rock bottom, when Batman was in the pit, right, that dungeon, right, back broken by Bane, that was, anyone can relate to that, dude. That, when I watched that scene, that was Tark Houks when he's living in his car for 93 days, drowning in debt, right, failed business. And I actually also had, I want to say I had an injury, but it might have been healing at the time. But just the worst of the worst. Right after my rock bottom. And I was like, my life is just a movie. It's just a video game. As in, nobody wants to be with you there, but everybody wants that Bruce Wayne when he's made it out of the pit, out of the dungeon, the one who did not give up, who persevered through the hardship, adversity, who he wouldn't be Batman if he didn't endure that and then persevere through that. That's what makes him a hero, right? So if you have hardship and struggle that you're going through in your life, and you're like, oh no, this is happening to me. No. It's literally the script of your hero's story, your hero's journey, if you choose to view it like that. And then when you persevere through that story, that hero's journey, that is a success guide, right? A survival guide for somebody else who's going to go through that exact same thing in the future, right? You could be that beacon of light, of hope, that symbol like Batman was for that person. Does that make sense? So life doesn't happen to you, man, it happens for you. And I think that is the premise of this law. Make your accomplishments seem effortless, right? When Bruce Wayne is walking around, or Robert Downey Jr. in the Avengers, you know, take that suit off, what are you? Billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. They make it look so effortless, but what they don't show you are the hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of hours that they put in behind closed doors of just sheer work and output when nobody's watching. Quote from Tony Robbins. You will be rewarded in public for what you've practiced for thousands of hours in private. Greg Plitt, the same person who shows up at 5 a.m. when it's pissing raining outside, when it's cold, when it's early, when they're tired, that's the person who has his hand raised on the podium later in life. And that's the person that you could be, the one who makes it seem so effortless, right? Ties into the quote, the law, make your accomplishments seem effortless. Law number 30, that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Rat life, anyone can escape. It starts with belief in the courage to pursue. We're all gonna make it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.